Okay, folks, we're back doing Cornford's Before and After Socrates, Chapter 1. This is pages 5 through 15. Right, and we're going to start off in this section talking about Thales of Miletus, right, as one of the beginners, the first Western scientist, Western philosopher. Now, the Greeks had established these colonies on the coast of Turkey, we call modern-day Turkey, right? Ionia is what the Greeks were before this, right? Different colonies, and they would have researchers and do their own things there, just like the Greeks would. And there, Thales, right, of Miletus is the first one to start theorizing that everything could be composed out of one, right, fundamental element. He thought it was water. You see life come out of water. You see ice, right, when it freezes, solids come out of water. Gas can come out of water when you boil it. So you can actually even see fire come out of water, and you put it in a barn, let it in wet, it can actually combust. So you can see almost anything in water. So you have these theories about where things are coming from, and they're developed first in these Ionian colonies, but they're fundamentally Greek in nature. And Thales of Miletus was one of the first one. He predicts the first eclipse, and I think it's 815 BC, right, because you've got these Babylonian star charts that have been watching the gods for 5-6 centuries, and they've plotted their movements, and from these you can then start making predictions. They're watching the star charts for the purposes of trying to determine what the will of the gods were. They thought the gods were deciding where they'd be in the heavens. And Thales makes the shift of conceptual thinking to, okay, these aren't intentional actors, these stars are, but they're actually objects moving. If we map them that way, then we can get predictions. He's able to predict eclipse, and from this, right, it's thought to be confirmation of his thesis and his theories, and we have the beginnings of philosophy and science. Right, Cornford's going to draw an analogy between the development of a child's mind and what the Greeks are going through, these elder Greeks or these ancient Greeks are going through, as they try to get out of these ages of superstition and myth and go to ages of science and philosophy. Right, and for Cornford, right, scientific knowledge, the rise of science, is when we want to know something just for the sake of knowing, not for any practical purpose it can be made to serve. Right, knowledge for the sake of knowledge. And this is when science really gets started. The businessman is more interested in gold than they are in borium. Right, borium is only useful to the businessman if he can make money with it. Well, the scientist, as Peirce will say, right, or Socrates would say as well, is interested in all the qualities of any of the metals. Right, so the first thing we see is the child, right, solipsism, where the child is inside the universe. It doesn't really see how it's separate and distinct. You'll have the infant who just by yelling or complaining, right, making noises, gets his food, mother comes and takes care of it. So the child has not fundamentally realized that it's detached from its external environment. And for Cornford, this is the tribal, right, stages of thinking. They really haven't realized that they're separate and distinct. So you'll see them bargain and negotiate with the gods. Right, you'll see all kinds of pleadings and briberies and payments being made, as you would with a person. So they're fundamentally not separating themselves out of their environment yet. And this is what process they're going to go through in the development of science and philosophy. Right, we want to keep our interest not just in problems of immediate action, but also in things that are not immediately useful but could be useful in the future, knowing for the sake of knowing. And this stage starts to develop further, right, as we go farther into, right, Greek science and Greek philosophy. We don't want to right, postulate personalities and persons behind the objects and the causes of why things happen. So when you have a thunderstorm, right, you don't think of Thor throwing his hammer, right, or Apollo, right, being angry, right. You think of it as like we do, storm fronts, right, ordinary forces of nature simply colliding, right, and making noises, but it's not personalities out there bringing these things to be, right. So fundamentally what you have with the rise of Greek science is a separation from the natural and the supernatural. We no longer have reference to supernatural events. Everything has to be explained in a publicly verifiable manner, right. You can't make references to, last night I was talking to a divinity and he told me this, or I heard that. This doesn't work out very well. You've got to be able to see it. Everybody's got to be able to see it. And then you've got a justifiable warranted reason to believe something. So we're switching everything to that line of thought. Answers in human conduct or answers about nature are all to be answered by questions in the publicly verifiable and no longer than by divinities or by approaching the gods kind of stuff.